All right, and I do believe we are ready to go for Final Doom. The next run coming up here is S6kana.
Well,
hello everyone. All right, hello everybody.
We're live, yeah.
I think we are, yes.
Yeah. Hello everyone. I'm S6kana. I'm gonna. Thank you. I'm gonna show you a run of Plutonia Final Doom experiment in Nightmare. Hope it goes well. I will use a lot of save, of course. Really hard run on single segment, and Oxyde on Dime will command the run, and me, I will mute myself to focus during the run. So.
Alright, he's got everything set up. So you might be familiar with the one and only King Dime that is with us today to cover Final Doom. And I myself, I'm just a regular player that recently scored the first ever Doom 2 4 players Nightmare run in co-op.
That's insane. Hey, what's up? I'm King Dime. But yeah, we're all cheering for you, S6kana. Can't believe you're doing a Nightmare run, this is going to be out of control.
Yeah, this is insanely cruel. This is a very, very difficult game. Just a bit of background. Final Doom is made out of 2 level packs, which are TNT and Plutonia, and while TNT is basically Doom 2 plus, Plutonia is significantly more difficult. And to add to the chaos, S6kana will be doing Nightmare. Nightmare enables enemies to respawn after 12 seconds, as early as 12 seconds once you have killed them. And they are way more aggressive. Pinkies are much faster, enemies are just always attacking all the time. But just to make it fair, you have double the ammunition, so it should be fairly okay to go with. Okay. Alright, are you ready, S6kana?
Yeah, hopefully, yeah. I think everything goes fine, but we'll see.
Alright,
we'll see.
Then when you're ready...
Yep. We can make a count, maybe. A count as you want.
Countdown?
Yeah, countdown, yeah. So,
all right.
5, 4,
3, 2, 1, go.
Let's go.
Alright, so you might notice the music is a bit different from what you're used to listen to. Kana will be using the Plutonia MIDI pack made by Jimmy, and he's just gonna have to restart because those shotgunners can deal a lot of damage, especially on fast.
No, it just gets really insane, especially with hit scanners. Like, as far as it goes with the Nightmare enhancements on the demons, is you just get like almost a different tier listing for just how dangerous they are. So like, these shotgunners go way up, the chain gunner you just saw above, so Kana has to be very careful.
Exactly. Like you would in standard UV play, not expect much danger from zombie man. In Nightmare, you're in for a treat because they have very, very fast trigger pulling skills. So up next, S6kana is gonna do a bit of a tricky jump to reach directly from the exit. It's gonna blast away those chain gunners, the monkey to leave up some space, and he's going to set up.
Yeah, he's going to be setting up a strafe run here. So there's like 2 main types of movement mechanics, which is strafe 40 and strafe 50. So strafe 40 is in a lot of old school retro games, and it allows you to go 28% faster. And then with strafe 50, you can go up to 41% faster, but you have to press 4 inputs, and that includes a turn input and a strafe on input on top of that.
Yeah, and the catch with strafe 50 is that it allows you to be way quicker, but you cannot turn your mouse while you do it, because moving your mouse will trigger the strafe movement, which will give you the extra speed you need. Right, so as you can see, you have a lot to deal with in Plutonia. I mean, it's just the second level and he's already swarmed by demons and the likes. And as you can just see, he's killing monsters that he has already killed earlier on because, well, 12 seconds delay if you're unlucky, but let's hope that the game is friendly with us.
So Kana is clearing out the specters to kind of ensure that they can't get in the way. Like when they're going twice as quick and attacking twice as fast, like they're a huge threat. But it's like funny because when he's grabbing that red key back there, it's just a trap room. Like if you press the wrong switch, then you get a whole bunch of lost souls that come out and get you. But well done on Kana finishing up lost Well of Souls.
Right, so you might have noticed something a bit strange, is the fact that he seemed to have walked on air, which is not entirely true. Actually, Plutonia invented an interesting mapping trick called the self-referenced sector, which is basically a trick that you can use to make invisible geometry, and you can create the illusion that you have an actual architecture, you know, a room over another room, but the Doom engine is not able to render that. So that's one of the many interesting aspects of Plutonia.
Kind of being careful here, grabbing the blue key. Like you can see these pain elementals, and they're just shoving lost souls all over the place. And okay, there we go, good job. So Kana's going back, and he spent time knocking down this Archvile's HP. So when he came into the room, he fired 3 rockets, and then he mitigated the splash damage by going up against some geometry there. And so Archviles have 2 different damage types. They do like 20 direct damage and 70 splash damage, and by walking up against it, you can mitigate all 70 splash. But continuing forth, so Kana is preparing and getting his HP high, and then going back to a secret because he's going to be getting a soul sphere in this room. And a soul sphere grants you 100 HP, and this is really important moving on into map 4 Caged, because there's a trick called the zero press that will be taking place, and Kana wants to have like essentially 200 if he can.
So he's gonna do an interesting trick on this part. He's going to do a glide. So basically the player is a 32 pixel wide square box, and you can squeeze in just like he did in those spaces. So you can do it on pretty much any 32 pixels wide gap. It's a bit more complex from the north, going south to north, sorry. It requires a very, very precise sub-pixel setup.
Yeah, and it was discovered by like a combination of Zero Master and Shock Blast, and I always received a hard time when I called it the Zero Press, because it's just like, no, Shock Blast was kind of within that too, but now it's kind of just being christened the Zero Press, and poor Shock.
Yes, again, very precise setup to catch the switch up. No, this is not gonna do it. It's a difficult one because you are doing it in the hazardous surface. So you take damage while you stay on it. You have to make sure you are as quick as you can to not lose much health. And he's being harassed by a cacodemon.
Oh yeah, it's absolutely brutal. Like even the start of Cage when you have the 4 shotgunners come out, but like the thing about this Zero Press, so if you've seen the one on Industrial Zone, map 15 in Doom 2, is you just essentially have a flat surface. But in this one, because of the geometry, you're kind of getting nudged to the left, so it's a bit more difficult in your setup, and then having a cacodemon on top of that trying to chomp you, but nice job, Kana, getting through there, well done.
So again, this level starts off with another 32 pixels glide. He could do it on the other side, but it's a little bit trickier to get. And again, you can see the craziness that goes when you play Plutonia. You have chain gunners everywhere, and you are even greeted with spider masterminds and other fun things to deal with in a normal playthrough.
Yeah, the chain gunner and a revenant experiments, but going in and finishing up Ghost Town, like Kana is going to be taking out a Baron, and then doing like a small setup to annihilate the Archvile before exiting this level. But it's a good time for a few donations. AnEternalEnigma.
Yes, please, Enigma.
Sure thing. And we've got plenty of Doom ones. We have $100 from Neil193, who says, I could buy Doom Eternal with this money, or I could just watch someone else play it and put the money towards something good. Thanks for putting this on, y'all. We have $100 from CDA, who says, after putting 150 plus hours into Animal Crossing, I have to balance the scales by contributing for Doom Guy to rip and tear COVID-19. We have a $100 donation by the Marksman, who says, warning, the Slayer has entered the facility.
And has that, we get Kana going through a door. So he was like in the Ultra-Violence run, you would knock out zero of the Revenants up there, but a Nightmare, like getting up, it's difficult to get through the door unless they're taken out.
So this map has an interesting twist in a co-op run. The way the map is made is you have the keys, the 3 keys you need, are actually put inside of walls. You cannot see them, you cannot reach them. They are not there in single player, but they are there in co-op just so you don't have to go all the way back if you die in a standard co-op playthrough. You don't have to go all the way back just to grab a set key so you can progress again. So it's more of a convenience thing, but you can actually bump the wall at a specific spot, get the key, and save a lot of time.
Alright, serious area incoming, so Kana is killing all the Revenants, but we're going to get the first, I guess, pseudo-boss monster. The Cyber Demon is making an appearance, and Kana cannot have this Cyber Demon in the open. Like, it's a no-go, because the Cyber Demon will even destroy him at this HP. Oh, here we go. So Kana got 1 out of 2 switches. He has to press the second one, and the Cyber Demon's just sitting in the middle. Ooh, nice, just splash damage.
So that is one of the paradoxal aspects of playing Nightmare, because in Nightmare, with the fast monsters, they just keep attacking over and over again. And that makes them more predictable, but with the respawn factor, you never know when they're gonna respawn and where they're gonna be when you need to move around.
Oh, in the style of a dead simple map, all of these Mancubi they're like a kill trigger before that these elevators come down. And it'd be a bigger deal in Doom 2 maps of them just because there's more Mancubi, but you need to destroy all the Mancubi before they respawn, so it's like an extra detail in Nightmare speedruns.
This is a gimmick that was born in Doom 2, and very few levels use built into the game triggers in which you have to kill monsters. Like Doom 1 has a few of them, Map 7 in all of Doom 2 based words. There are a few interesting maps you can result in interesting tricks. And this map is going to result again in yet another 32 pixels glide. So was that intentional during development? That we don't know, but it's a very frequent thing in Plutonia.
And so in the source port that Kana is using called Crispy Doom, one cool feature is that you can turn vertical mouse movement on and off, which is just thankful because it's really frustrating when you're just going through. But he's going to be going to the east to west side, and then he will find the placement, because Doom Guy has 32 units. Oh man, he already got through. Gotta explain this faster.
He's really quick, yeah.
Yeah. And then goes through the Archvile, and the map's over.
Alright, Abattoir, quite a fun map that he will again glide through another 32 pixel white gap. He's only gonna need, I think it's the blue skull key. to progress further, but the second part of the map is really typical Plutonia. You have quite a welcoming comedy once you go through the teleporter to the second part.
Yeah, setting up with the invulnerability. And S6kana is not shooting in this room, or it'll activate everything else. Like, there's just a legion of revenants and pinkies that come out. So this glide will look very similar to the one on Realm, but in actuality, it's a north to south glide. And so Kana is utilizing another technique called a wobble glide to keep momentum, and then he's going to push himself through. There, then. Great execution, but this room is, it's just a death trap with Barons, Hell Knights, Cacodemons, so he's going to run all over the place and attempt to keep his HP. Because, so the blue armor that he grabbed, it's the last blue armor he gets for a large amount of maps through 10, 11, and 12, and he needs to keep it when he picks it up.
Right, so he currently has he had 200 HP but no armor, so he's extremely vulnerable. He's gonna be looking for, as soon as possible, trying to get a blue armor. The blue armor will not only grant you 200 points, but will also reduce the damage taken by 50%, in the sense that the armor will absorb 50% of all incoming damage. It's pretty much mandatory to survive on Plutonia, let alone Nightmare.
Yeah, and there's another type of armor, green armor, that can grant you 1/3 resistance instead of 50%. But in this case, there's the blue armor, luckily. But Kana is carefully knocking out several chain gunners here and there. And now he's going to run up and do the skip straight towards the red key.
Yeah.
And this skips...
in a single try, perfect execution.
Yeah, it skips a sewer section on Onslaught, and most importantly, a 2 Archvile spawn, which is terrible to deal with.
But when you do the game normally on a casual playthrough, things usually don't go that well for you, especially on this map. The third episode is very, very cruel. You're gonna see that by the end of the run.
Oh boy, it's the infamous hunted map. There is only...
yes, the most...
over like a dozen Archviles.
Right, so what is this map exactly? It's just, quote-unquote, just a maze, except you have a few friends that roam in it, and they are Archviles. So, yeah, like the title of the map implies, you're gonna be hunted quite a bit, and in a casual playthrough, this map is thrilling to play.
You mean it's not thrilling to play on a speed run too? I don't know. I think it's great because there's so much detail to the movement that you have to do on each corner. Because like if you hit walls at all, you don't exactly slide in Doom. Like all of your momentum is just, it's gone. So like any mistakes there, kind of had a bump. It's like a slowdown. So like this whole level, you can just save time. But he had a fantastic kind of skip on the Archviles not being able to see his LOS at the start there when he was going against the switch, and yeah, he just kind of blasts through it.
Right, and an interesting twist and a little bit of a trap at the end of this map. You have 2 exit teleporters. Just a friendly advice, use the left one, because if you use the right one, you're gonna start the next level with little to no HP, because it's a death trap.
I don't know, would you argue this is the hardest casual level in Plutonia? Like, everybody thinks go to it. It's got to be the secret map with, like, 15 cyber demons. But, like, everything that I've watched, speed just crushes new players.
Yeah, speed is extremely cruel. I would say it comes majorly due to the fact that in its design, it's very open and you can get swarmed from all directions of projectiles, chain gunners, Archviles. It's just a lot of fun, but Kana's not here for the fun and the view. He's here to exit as quickly as he can, so he's going to use a very accurate stray 50 run to get in that cage, and a very accurate rocket jump to the exit in a single shot. That is incredible.
Yeah, that's excellent. Me and Oxyde spotted Kana like having a lot of trouble on speed in that part because like looking back with Nightmare Monsters with the potential to respawn after 12 seconds is like Kana is trying to rush towards the end so that it gets no monsters that respawn in the blood pool below him, or they can block him with infinite height.
Yes, this is an important aspect of Doom, is that Doom has a lot of problems with verticality. Like all monsters, all the objects, I mean monsters specifically and decorations that can block you, are infinitely vertical. So say a monster is several hundred feet below you, you will not be able to pass over it. So again, 32 pixel glide. So the first one was easier because it was on the south. The exiting one is on the north and is much more complex to get. So he has to get a very, very precise setup again.
Yeah, with so in glides, when you're kind of holding forward at the right spot where you're kind of slotted in position. So in other directions of glides, the one on Realm, the one on Abattoir, your Doom guy will actually stop there. And you'll know that you're in the correct position, but the orientation of this one in the crypt, you will not actually stop. So Kana is finding he's lining himself up with a pixel that he'd likely be looking at the left side of the screen. Oh man, he had a bear in there that respawned. But then afterwards, he's going to be tapping the W or the forward input a bunch of times in a row. And he's looking on screen as the pixels are shifting. And then once he's got the right shift is when he uses vertical mouse movement and then attempts to get through.
Yeah, gently, just very gentle up movement of the mouse, just so you can slide in. It's not going to work if, even though it looks like you're okay and you're like mashing your forward key, it's not gonna work. You need a very precise, and there, he got it. He need a very, very precise setup to do this one.
Clap, clap, clap. It's like the two hard directions of glides is feels like you need pages to explain it to like every new player how to get through, but like it never used to really be possible. Is there'd be people that would, you know, maybe do it in an IL, but in a full game run, there was like no way in heck.
That's too bad. That's poor timing. I mean, Archviles can be very, very deadly opponents, and we just saw that. The good thing about Archviles, I mean, there's actually one. It's a small one, but it can still be used in speedruns. When they attack you, you jump. And you can jump up to, at most, I think it's 79 pixels height. And you can use it in a few maps to trigger what we simply call a vile jump. He's going to do that in a later map of the run.
Yeah, a little bit later, but Genesis is kind of boring, so all right, go ahead, AnEternalEnigma, with some donations.
Sure. And before we get to the donations, I just want to let everybody know we've recently crossed $40,000 towards the Doom Eternal incentive. We're less than $10,000 away. We need to hit $50,000 to get that. We're currently sitting at about $40,500. So help us get to that final push for Doom Eternal. We are very, very close to that. And we had some big donations come in very recently. We have Control V who donates $1,200
Wow.
and says, yes, absolutely, and says fighting coronavirus takes guts, huge guts. Shout outs to the early FPS mega thread. Control V, thank you very much. We also have an anonymous $1,000 donation that says, I'm telling you, Doom's bringing them out. Says, I'm fortunate enough to still have my job, so take my stimulus check. Let's rip and tear.
Point and click. Awesome. Okay. So Plutonia is known for revenants and chain gunners. Can you guess why? Within a few seconds of watching Twilight.
This map has another interesting twist because, well, Plutonia is a goldmine for design ideas and traps. This map uses a setup in which you have chain gunners standing on pillars, but what you cannot see is that behind this pillar there is a hidden archvile that will constantly resurrect the chain gunners that you kill. You cannot dispatch these monsters. You have to reach the end of the map so that they get crushed by a specific trigger so you can finally play in peace. It's a very, very cruel map.
But it looks easy, just getting that invulnerability, and then by the time that you exit out, then the map is done. So in Ultraviolence, there is an archvile jump that you would see on Omen, but you're literally running into so many hit scanners, I can't even count them all. Like, you can't even count them all, so AnEternal will be utilizing a safer strat and knocking out, like, 50 shotgunners and chain gunners, no joke.
You're gonna see the welcome committee. It's quite something. Also, sadly, we did not get to see the secret maps. I mean, I could understand that you would want to see Doom 2's secret maps because they act more like bonus maps, but even the secret maps of Plutonia are not really that friendly with Cyberden and Go To It, which, well, Go To It I think was one of the first slaughter maps. I think that's how we could define it.
Yeah, that's right. So Compound, like the entirety of the map, is going to be skipped with a suicide exit, because after Doomguy takes himself out, your Z height is heavily reduced, but your momentum is kept, and you can activate walkover triggers. And the great thing about Plutonia is the majority of exits, or maybe even all of them, like I would have to go back and check, are not switches, but they're little platforms with a walkover trigger that you're done the map.
Right, only exception to that was map 4, Caged, in which he performed the 0+ right from below. But indeed, yes, all exits in Plutonia are walkover lines, and as you die, you keep that property. So, as we were mentioning earlier, we have the Archvile jump coming up. You can see the exit teleporter is right here with a floating exit sign, and he's landing it on the first try. Excellent.
Makes it look easy. There's some people who don't complete that on the first try, but we don't speak of that anymore. But a cool note about that Archie jump is you have to jump from far away off the platform, because Doomguy doesn't have air control. So if you held an input on that platform and you had the Archvile jump, you would not get on.
Again, another... Sorry, please.
My bad. But enemy and Def Domain, we're going to be going through some enemies and some stuff, but that's about it. They're fairly straightforward. You'll just notice that Kana chose on purpose the east to west glide side, because that is the easiest of the four. Directionality is, like, extremely important. But while we're waiting for the start of Def Domain, go on ahead, AnEternalEnigma. Or I don't know. Whenever I see you, I like to think it's just like, it's John Romero with that hair.
Oh, come on. Does John Romero have a sequin jacket? All right. Anyways, so we have a few more donations coming on in, and just a reminder, we are getting close to 41,000 on the Doom Eternal incentive. So make sure your donations keep coming in for the bonus game that would be coming up right after this. So make sure you get your donations in for that. We need to get John Romero a sequin jacket, though. I think we need to. We have a $100 donation from Anonymous, who says soap and water will literally rip and tear the novel coronavirus apart. Don't disappoint, Doom Guy. Wash your hands and make this Doom Eternal run happen. And we have a $250 anonymous donation who says, my cause is just, my will is strong, and my gun is very, very sanitized and cleaned so I can rip and tear without getting sick. Huge guts.
Want to explain how
we have a $50? Oh, I'm sorry.
Sorry, please. You can go on if you'd like.
Okay. Well, I mean, we've got plenty, but we've got one more here. A $50 donation from TCM Backwards, who says, I've never once seen a demon wash its hands. Exterminate them. Shout out to id Software for the gaming legacy they created.
Alright, Kana is entering the final episode of Plutonia. So if you're a bit familiar with speedrunning, you know this map can be exited really quickly because it's again a 32 pixels glide to the exit. Except on Nightmare, he's gonna do a little more than just exit. The thing is about Doom's verticality is that enemies that are far below you or above you can scratch you and use their melee attacks regardless of the vertical position. So what happens in this specific map is that he would usually get beat by demons from below. So what he's gonna do is trigger a platform around the exit spot so he can step on it, grab a sphere, and then rather safely perform the exit glide. So he can enter the two following maps with hopefully enough health, because the upcoming maps are
cool in Plutonia, but like this whole time you gotta remember again that this is Nightmare difficulty, and in some ways Kenna's like making it look easy, but I'd say like the majority of pretty much anybody, if you're coming in, like you almost need to have a speed run route if you're gonna complete Nightmare in the first place, because if you do not have the speed, the monsters are gonna respawn and they'll overwhelm you.
Yes, it takes a lot of planning. Well, in a normal casual playthrough, you can just go in with pretty much, I would say, raw skill and it will work. On Nightmare, you just cannot do that. You cannot go blind.
Yeah.
And as you can see, even with that safer setup, he's still getting swarmed by lots of enemies. It's interesting to note the Pain Elemental, an enemy added in Doom 2, can create several lost souls all around the map, but the classic engine is limited to 21, so past a certain point the Pain Elemental becomes entirely useless. That's a good thing, but sadly in Nightmare 21 lost souls is something you do not want to have to deal with.
No, they just start ping-ponging around the map with their aggression. But there's a funny map in Doom 2 on the pit where there's so many lost souls at the start of the map that you'll see pain elementals opening their mouth and nothing comes out.
Yeah, this is an interesting twist. Some user-made maps also take advantage of that. In the first Hell Revealed, custom map set, you start in a small room with pain elementals and you see a pile of weapons, so your initial gut instinct would be to go grab said weapons, but when you do that you actually crush lost souls that you cannot see, which results in the pain elementals finally being able to release Hellspawn. So not really a good thing. And he finally lands Slayer. That was a tough one to go with, and now he's about to enter Impossible Mission, a map that really wears its name really well.
Yep, that's why the estimate is so long. Yep. So Kana is going to trigger this elevator because there's 3 shotgunners down below, and he's going to be conserving his health. Because the main moment where the health is needed is the red key, and the Kasali bros just said, well, what are we going to do for a red key trap? Sure, 8 Barons of Hell, 1 Archfell. Deal with it.
Typical Plutonia. Interesting trick here, he's gonna do a sort of accurate setup to prevent triggering a certain line depth that will result in a lot of chain gunners and a couple of Hell Knights heading his way.
Oh yeah, these yellow key bars, you can just press the switch, so this large nukage area with a Mancubus trap, you just won't even see it in the run. Well, you see it once, but you don't see the Mancubi.
Right, and now I guess you understand why Kana isn't speaking, because he needs absolute focus due to the chaos that's happening here.
Well, the gameplay's tricky, but Kana is like he's got to be so careful with his saves, because if you do an incorrect save, you could essentially like soft lock himself.
Yeah, soft lock his situation, yeah.
But he just ran right through those barons. Like, this newer strategy using the BFG to kill one of the barons on the right opens ample space so that you can get down and, for the most part, come out unscathed. And I'd say so far, like, his health is looking excellent.
Yeah.
Which is needed for Tombstone. This is, like, Tombstone is where the nightmare respawn mechanics will truly come into play, because there's so much backtracking. You're getting 3 keys, and there's 3 switches. They're in different areas, and you're going back and through, back and forth, back and forth.
Right, so obviously you can see he's using saves. I cannot imagine the amount of pressure you face when you reach this map in a single segment run when recording a demo. That's gonna be crazy. And this map really does not help with actually having you taking a bit of time to calm and appreciate what's going on.
Yeah, so S6kana is moving through. He's going to be looking for a Megasphere with the Archfall, but I want to see Doom Eternal, so I'd love to hear more of these donations flowing through.
Absolutely, we want to see it as well. The current Doom Eternal is right at 41,939, about to cross 42,000. So you guys are doing great. Keep it great. We got a lot more donations that have come on in. We've got a $500 donation from Paco Taco, who says, "Let's hit that incentive for Doom Eternal." We have a $100 donation from Hyena Girl 64, who says, "Punch coronavirus in the mouth." Just wear gloves if you do. We have a $100 donation from Binary Shift, who says, "So happy to see the GDQ machine firing up to help another great cause in Enigma reading donations. Excited to see someone rip and tear through Final Doom. Stay safe, everyone, except demons. Doom guy coming for you." And a $5 anonymous donation that says, "If even half the people in this chat donated $5 each, we would reach the Doom Eternal incentive in no time. Watch and donate until it is done."
Right, so as you can see, specifically due to the respawn factor, you're constantly fighting in this map. You have very little to no time to catch up. You have to deal with constant swarms. Like, you're gonna see traffic jams, like in very tight spaces. All the enemies will have respawned, and he's gonna be greeted again by very friendly individuals, like 2 full pillars of archviles, but thankfully he's gonna be already gone.
It can't be underrated that not only is the Archfall the fastest demon that you face, but the channeling attack, just like, it really does blind you. So you need to kind of focus on where you were before and where you want to go, and also the timing before you take damage, because the 90 damage is at the very end of the channeling. So if you get out of line of sight just for a split second at the end of the channel, you'll take 0 damage.
Right, the only method to prevent an archvile from blasting you is breaking the line of sight. Either that or attack the vial and just hope it goes into pain state. Pain state is when you shoot a demon and he obviously looks like he's not enjoying that. The archvile has the lowest pain chance of them all, with something around 3% probability when you shoot him. So you cannot really rely on that. And as you can see right here, this is nightmare at work. You just do not get to catch a break. You just cannot. The game is constantly in your face, and this map is absolutely terrifying.
Oh man, 30%, and that's at the end of a long map. I think Kana's got it though,
That
but
is tight. Oh my god.
that lost soul.
11, wow. that's really, really, really tight.
I think that's the toughest map in the whole Megawatt down, but Final Frontier is no joke either, because it's going to play a part in backtracking, because there's a cyber demon that's standing in front of a teleporter. Now the thing is, when you teleport, you're not able to move for like half a second. And so the cyber demon, since it shoots with its aggressiveness on Nightmare, you can't really handle that. So Kana is going to clear and get keys so that he has the tools to exit the map, but then run back to this beginning room and grab an invulnerability.
So this map, something I really like about Plutonia, I think this map is one of the few that I would say started a design trend. It really looks a lot like Doom 2 map 29, and I feel like these big caverns with very tight paths that are located high up above the ground that is toxic are something that we have started to see a lot in user-made maps. Again, another aspect in which Plutonia truly shines, not only because of its difficulty, but because of the pretty much everything it, I wouldn't say invented, but really helped put the light on in terms of design, difficulty, monster placement, and overall the joy of, having slower maps and really, really difficult maps to play with.
Yeah, and it's not like Plutonia is absolutely spamming monsters all over the place. Like, it's just competently placed monsters acting as threats. And because, like, Plutonia rarely, I think, even really goes over 100 demons in a single map, with a couple of exceptions.
And you can see the respawns right here are not really working in his favor, but he's finally able to make progress and enter the second big part of the map, in which he will have to face a cyber demon. But yeah, he's not gonna risk it. He's gonna go with grabbing the invulnerability sphere, so he does not get killed the instant he walks out of the teleporter.
There we go, getting a bunch of health, and then traversing this thin staircase is Ken is going to be aiming to get to the blue key. But with tons of hit scanners, you can see the cyber demon now in view, who's shooting at him, and the teleporter is behind the cyber.
I cannot imagine his heart rate right now. He's gonna be really, really high.
Yeah, too bad there's no heart rate monitor, but yeah, now Kenna's going into the backtrack and aiming for the invul sphere.
Right, so as you can see, he's taking it rather slow, clearing monsters. It's pretty much a mandatory thing in this map specifically. I mean, this is where Nightmare comes into its really tricky planning part, because obviously you have respawns, but you have limited resources to work with, so you definitely need to make sure you save the resources if you have to backtrack. It's a lot of decision making rather than raw skill, I would say, and it really makes for a truly unique experience. Few people would really attempt Nightmare. It looks terrifying on the surface, but with a little bit of practice you can start working with that. And he made it.
Yeah, got on through. But if anybody is interested in classic Doom speedruns, there's many discords with tons of players who are interested in helping. This is like the Temple of Darkness with the starting is just evil. Like, who would put 15 shotgunners around you? We gotta figure out which Casali made this map.
All right, here a double glide. This map is really interesting in terms of glides. He's gonna do one right here to pass the pillar, and then he's gonna loop. Oh, he's not. You can. I had no idea you could do it by going back. He previously used to loop around and go the other way, just so he could enter from the other side and reach the second part. And obviously, because the run is not crazy enough as it is, he's going to do something special to exit this map. And he's got it in a single attempt. This man is absolutely insane.
Yeah, beauty. He made it look easy, just the same as speed, like 2 rocket jumps in a row.
Right, level 26. We are 4 maps away from the end. Enigma, maybe do you have time for a few donations?
Oh yeah, we've still got plenty coming in. Doom Eternal incentive just hit over 43,000. We are closing in on the $50,000 incentive for Doom Eternal, so make sure you keep those donations coming in. That would be right after this if we meet it. But we did get a lot more coming on in. We have a $500 anonymous donation that says, love a good GDQ and happy to donate to a good cause. Let's see that Doom Eternal run. We have another $500 donation from the Iridian, who says, I'm actually playing Doom Eternal right now, so it only makes sense for me to donate in order to watch it run. My girlfriend is a nurse, so this is also for her. And thank you for that. We have a $250 donation from Gordon Fearman, who says, it'd be a shame not to see Doom Eternal rip and tear until this incentive is met. We have a $100 donation from Star Creator, who says, putting some of my stimulus funds where they're really needed. Let's see Doom Eternal. And a $100 donation from Mechorpheus, who says, loving the final Doom run. My best time for Plutonia on even Ultraviolent stands at about 6 weeks, so amazing seeing it smashed on Nightmare. Let's see that Doom Eternal run.
There we go, the end of Bunker. So you saw on the opposite side that there is a blue key door on Bunker, so it's a 2-key map, but you only need 1 to exit, and then the red one happens to be faster than blue.
Right, so another interesting little detail you might have noticed, sometimes whenever Kana stepping through a teleporter, you will notice his field of view is either very close to the ground, or it seems like he spawns in the air and is falling. A reason for that is in Final Doom, for some reason there is a bug that affects both Plutonia and TNT. Whenever you enter a teleporter, you will be you will end at a z coordinate of 0, so that's why sometimes your head is on the floor or sometimes you appear to be falling on the ground.
And you spoke about the living end, kind of those design elements in the Final Frontier. It's the same deal with Antichrist. It really is like a reimagining of Map 29.
Right, so he's now entering the sewers, which is, I would say, another unique design. Not the most difficult one in the 3rd episode, but definitely an interesting one. This map is, I would say, pretty generous on resources and ammo, but it's also very generous on monsters as well, so there's no worrying on this side.
So Kenna, there will be like one final Arachnotron that he fires at with the BFG, and then after this, he is going to no longer fire and kind of act pacifist for a bit to ensure that a later monster wave or spawn in a giant circular room is going to be negated. So you see right here, like he's not shooting Hell Knight, and now from this this point on, he no longer has to worry. But within this room, there would be a giant wave, but that's no longer the case on the backtrack.
So this is an interesting aspect, a very interesting aspect of Doom classic design. In the classic version of the game, by classic I mean non-ZDoom based type of mods and engine, you cannot create a monster out of nothing. If you need to set up an ambush and teleport monsters, you will have to make it so that the monsters are awakened by the player having to actually shoot, and past a certain point you will activate a trigger that will release monsters from said trap room and start teleporting in. This is why in certain areas he is not firing, and he just scored the sewers, and he's entering map 29, which is, I would say, pretty insane architecture considering the age of the game and the technical limitations of the engine. This map pushes it really far, and that was a very unlucky BFG strike here. He was like a few frames off to get the spray to actually work.
Okay, so Cannon's going to be interweaving between the buildings so he can find like the right routes to grab a couple of keys. But just before we get to the final map, let's get some last donations in, Eternal.
Yes, please.
Sure, we're still getting a lot coming in, keeping an eye on the Doom Eternal incentive. It's just a hair under 45,000, so make sure we're just a little over 5,000 left. And speaking of, we have got an anonymous $1,000 donation that just came in. That is, it says, amazing run by S6kana. Let's get some more Doom runs added to the lineup. Thank you, Anonymous, for the 1K. We have $100 from Anonymous as well, who says 100 bells towards Doom Eternal. Tom Nook will be happy with that, I'm sure. Let's see. We've got $25 from Monty McDonger, who says, let's hope for two things. One, that Doom Eternal won't be the final Doom. Two, that we see the Doom Eternal speedrun later on. Props to all the runners and everyone behind the scenes.
And there he is. He enters the final map, map 30, the Icon of Sin. So what is exactly the Icon of Sin? It's basically John Romero's head on a pole, and you have to blast it with rockets. You cannot get any more Doom than that, really. It's interesting to know that in Doom 2 you will have to use in all of the Icon of Sin fights you will have to use the rocket launcher, but in Doom 2 you will need 3 rockets in. In Plutonia you can do it in only 2, because the Icon of Sin is set up close enough to the wall, so when the rocket blasts, and he's got it in a single shot. And time.
What an excellent run by Kana. Like, just, I guess, seeing like the category on the schedule. Like, you almost had to do a double take. Like, you're doing the Plutonia experiment on Nightmare?
I'm back.
Are you crazy?
I'm back.
Hey, Kana, well done. Great run, great run.
Awesome. I haven't died in the hardest level. Map 12, map 21, 22, yes, 21, yes, 22, 23, 24 goes well. So I'm really happy.
Alright, the nightmare's over. I think he's like still catching on with the fact that he has actually pulled one of the most difficult things you can do in classic Doom games. That's pretty incredible. Would you have any final words, Kana?
Thanks GDQ for make me run this Plutonia Nightmare run here. And shout out to the French Doom community, to a French restream, the restream of GDQ, of all GDQ in French. And keep donate, please, keep donate. Keep donate for during the marathon. And keep pushing the Doom Eternal incentive, I guess. It's over or not about the incentive?
It's just a couple thousand away. It's getting real close. Let's resolve that donation incentive through... I'm terrible. I'll just stop.
Thank you.
All right, that was an amazing run of Final Doom by S6kana. Well done. We'll all clap together in social isolation, of course, social distancing, all that good stuff. We just crossed $48,000 for the Doom Eternal incentive. We were a bit underestimate, which just shows you how incredible S6kana was at that game. We were very underestimate, so I think we still got some time to stretch this one out. We still are at 48,000. Let me refresh here real quick. 48,000. We are just a little under $2,000 to watch this Doom Eternal run. It would be next. You don't have that much time left. We have got to get those donations in for Doom Eternal right now. We have a $500 donation from Crowbar Collective, who says they're waiting for you, Gordon, in the Doom Chamber. Thank you, Crowbar Collective. Let's see here. They are coming in, and you bring them to me, we will go. We have a $200 donation from Damson Ree, who says, my husband and I are both essential workers, and we know the struggle of finding supplies for keeping ourselves safe. So here's a donation to help others that are also struggling. Stay safe, everyone. And thank you, GDQ, for coming to the aid of people in need once again. And thank you, everybody. We're currently at 48,400. We're less than 1,600 away. I see that gap closing. That gap is being ripped and torn right now. Let's get that Doom Eternal incentive while we still can. We just have a few more minutes before that would be met. So make sure you get your donations in now. We have, let me check this out here. We're getting a lot of donations coming on, and we have $10 from Haynes, who says putting another $10 towards Doom Eternal. Come on, everyone. Let's meet that incentive. We have $25 from Geit, who says, I only play the classic Doom, but I am happy to help donate so people can see the new hotness. We have $50 from Slick164, who says, I'd like 10 tickets to the Hype Train, please. I'm sure we can arrange that. Thank you, Slick. We have a $5 donation from Mnemonic Punk, who says, remember, everyone, you can't spell Doom Eternal without Met. Let's start a donation train to get this ride to heck going. If I disappear for a moment, it's because my cats are running around the desk and have knocked out the power, but I'm still here and still getting your donations. And ladies and gentlemen, we have met the Doom Eternal incentive. It is now over $52,000. Doom Eternal has been met. We are getting the Doom Eternal bonus, any percent by Zamid. It is going to be coming up. Thank you, everybody, for getting all those donations in. We did it. Thank you all. You are all incredible. Thank you so much for all of that. But let's all keep it going. We just locked in Doom Eternal. It's happening. You are challenged to rip and tear until it's done, and it is done. Thank you all very much. Incredible. Thank you all very much, but keep those donations coming in. We are not done with this event, not by a long shot. Thank you all very much. Speaking of which, we have a $1,000 donation from Tendeka, who says, demons are bad. I agree completely. Thank you, Tendeka. We have a $25 donation from Jay of All Trades 19, who says, just want to hear the commentator say cute puppies and lovely bubbles ooh-woo in that deep voice. Wonderful event for a wonderful cause. Keep up the hype. Also, is honk still a thing? So yes, we did meet that Doom Eternal incentive. So right now, Zamid is getting set up to get that going. That will be coming up next. Thank you all again, everyone. We're still getting that set up. Just want to remind you again real quick while we are getting everything set up here that Corona Relief Done Quick, brought to you by Games Done Quick and powered by Twitch, is brought together to benefit Direct Relief, who is doing some great things to help people that are affected by the COVID-19 issue that is unfortunately affecting us. Just want to tell you a little bit about them. Direct Relief's COVID-19 coronavirus efforts are focused on the personal protective equipment, such as masks, gowns, gloves, etc., that are most needed across the world. In addition to providing PPE, Direct Relief is supporting U.S. community clinics and health centers with chronic disease medications to make sure that people living with these conditions do not go into acute crisis as a result of the surge of people needing medical care due to COVID-19. Direct Relief is ramping up efforts to provide the prescription medications and medical resources needed for the most severe cases that require hospitalization and ICU care. You can learn more about Direct Relief's ongoing efforts related to COVID-19 at directrelief.org/emergency/coronavirus-outbreak. We have $25 from Maiden Joy, who says, "Hey, from the Frame Fatales Discord, and wishing everyone love and safety from over in the Med-Surg Division in Massachusetts. Be safe, wash your hands, rip and tear, and buddy up." We have a $100 donation from Cal Tuba, who says, "Gotta donate to rip and tear COVID-19 apart." Also, hi, Enigma. Hi, Cal Tuba. And thank you. And right now, we have a quick Twitch ad, and we'll be right back. All right, and we are back from that Twitch ad. Thank you all very much. And we are back here at Corona Relief Done Quick. We're still getting set up for Doom Eternal by Zamid. Thank you all again very much for getting that incentive met, so that we're going to see this here in just a moment. It'll be coming up very, very soon. And thank you, everybody that has been contributing to this marathon. Thank you, everybody. We've been talking about incentives. Our next one coming up, which I will also be here to watch. And I got to tell you, I'm a little personally biased to this one. Anybody that's actually been to a GDQ event know that the Bishi Bashi arcade is always in there and is always very popular. That's going to be coming up a little bit later tonight. We have an incentive to upgrade the category to Bishi Bashi to 100%. That is coming up at $6,000, currently sitting at $815. So if Bishi Bashi is incredible, and if we can get this upgraded to 100%, it will be even more incredible than it already is. So make sure you get your donations in to get Bishi Bashi up to 100%. You will not be disappointed, I promise you that. It is incredible. And that's going to be at $6,000. We're just under $1,000 right now for that. So make sure you get in for some Bishi Bashi goodness. But we've got some more of your donations coming on in for Doom. The hype is real for Doom Eternal. Speaking of which, we have a $5 donation from Rex235 who says, Doom Train, Doom Eternal, hype.